disclaimer, do not bully anyone in this video. These videos are just things that I think are interesting that I would like to share with you guys. Okay, this is not an expose. This is not bullying. This is not harassment. This is something I experienced and that I learned about that I would like to see what your thoughts are. And this one's exciting. This is a big, sort of large arched eyebrow one. Interesting. Oh, is that right? I don't know how you guys feel about spirituality, or not even really spirituality, but modern spirituality, and how it relates to TikTok, how it relates to people on TikTok who make videos about being spiritual and healing and all this other stuff that I really don't get. But I like to consider myself an open-minded fellow, but not with a mind so open that my brain shall fall. This all takes place on TikTok. We know TikTok. TikTok is a crazy place with crazy people, including my wife.
This is my wife. This is my other wife.
People can just post whatever they want and seemingly go viral overnight in an instant. We've seen a bunch of niche groups spawn on TikTok. We've got cosplayers, we got food reviewers, love gurus, money gurus, a lot of scammers, a lot of weird stuff happens on TikTok. And through all of this, we have seen the rise of spiritual TikTok. And I have to say, yet again, I am not a part of this. I do not know what this is, so I'm going to do my best to be as respectful as I possibly can. I will still be making jokes, just to be clear, but they are jokes. My intent is not to be rude or negative or harsh anyone's vibe, man. It's a bit of a meme, right? And that's what I do on this channel. There are people that are a part of this massive empire, and they offer advice and wisdom. They're astrologers, oracles, etc. I even did a video with my girlfriend and another, what is that called? You can go check that video out. It's interesting. I try to keep as open-minded as possible. Today, we will be talking about a TikToker, and I'm not really sure if I should say her name or not, to be honest, because I don't want you guys to go be mean to her. Her name is Keisha, all right? And she has a very prolific channel. She has nearly 100,000 followers, and her thing is guiding New Earth leaders into embodiment of their soul mission. Now, what exactly that means, I have no idea, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't learn a lot, but I tried though. I tried, and I'll explain, because this goes into this crazy big drama that you guys need to see. Keisha started a bit of a cat fight with another spiritual TikToker, and things have gone from the mortal world into the astral plane. The drama has transcended. This is the first drama that we've covered on this channel that exists only in the astral plane. And by God, I fucking love it. This is, I mean, it's bad, right? It's bad. There's victims in this. Victims. I don't know what I'm saying, really. I like the idea of things existing in a different world that's not really real, but is real or something. So who is Keisha? We'll give you a little rundown here. And once again, I'm trying to be respectful. Keisha has been on TikTok since March 2nd, 2021. She's been posting for a good while, or at least that's when her oldest video came out, March 2nd, 2021. She's shuffling them tarot cards like a fucking Vegas dealer, just gambling. Sorry, Frankie. Frankie doesn't like it when I gamble. She knows I have a problem. Now, it was a hunt to find that video, to go all the way back. I mean, it took like 3.5 hours of scrolling. Keisha sometimes posts 5 videos in a day. That is a lot of content, Keisha. Keisha has a link tree like most creators who are providing a service do, and her service is channeled guidance. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's a $333 session for 60 minutes. I think it's an astrology reading, not exactly sure. You can also just give her money, whatever, standard stuff. She's making content, this is her thing, it makes sense. There's also a virtual healing studio for $7 per month, which I don't really know what that is, but I can't, just speaking from the perspective of sort of get rich quick things, I think this is just the spiritual version of that. I can't really imagine there's a lot of value that comes out of $7 a month for that, to be honest. But maybe there is, I'm not sure. By the way, doing a bit of research on Keisha, there are a ton of impersonators. There are a lot of people that want to be her. I don't know if they just want to get money from the guidance thing because it's $333 for an hour. There are a lot of people that are trying to trick others into believing that they are the real Keisha. And some of them have followers. She's a legend, apparently. So this all transpired last month in December of 2023, the lion's share of the drama in regard to this whole situation in this video that caused me to raise my eyebrows like this. Keisha made a few videos about a male content creator who has been using his spiritual gifts to manipulate people. These videos were reportedly deleted off TikTok. I'm not exactly sure, but they have been re-uploaded as of December 28th. Part 1 is nearly 10 minutes long, and we'll just go through it. We'll give you the cliff notes. It opens with her talking about how, like we've established, a male content creator is using his spiritual gifts to manipulate people. For bad. He's a villain, allegedly. But it's not only that, he's also harvesting people's energy. What exactly does that mean? I have no idea, but it's got my eyebrows arching pretty strongly and stuff. Keisha also then says that this male content creator targets women, which makes sense. He's a evil man. We can already tell that. By the way, he's harvesting people's energies.
I think that he is primarily targeting women in the spiritual community, but that might not be the case. And I'm being called to make this video. I don't want to make this video, but I am being pushed by my spirit team to make this video and to speak my truth. One, so that I can speak my truth and have my voice heard, but also so that anyone who has been harmed by this person and could potentially be harmed by this person for the future can understand what he's doing and hopefully protect themselves.
She says that she doesn't want to make this video and she's being called to do it, and her spirit team is pushing her to do so. Now, I think I need more lore. I think I need more context to understand exactly what that means, but I'm going to just set it out there, let it sit. That's it. The spirit team. You know, I don't know what that is. I don't think I have one of those, but by God, I ain't gonna knock someone for having a fucking team, a spirit team. That sounds awesome. About a minute in, Keisha says that the past 6 months, she's been psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually attacked by this man, who currently, up until this point, remains unnamed.
So over the last 6 months, I have been psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually attacked by this person. And we've never met physically, so this has all happened energetically and telepathically. And I know that it's him that I'm talking to telepathically because he has confirmed in the physical multiple times by repeating things that he had said to me in telepathically.
So that's a massive claim. And then after that, she also says they've never met physically. Now, I have to make it very clear that to me, this seems very absurd. I think that this is absurd. I've never felt anything spiritually, probably because I'm a knuckle-dragging troglodyte, potentially. I even have this like caveman hair here. I've got like a bit of hair right here, and I think it's because I'm not very far evolved. This as well. And look at my eyebrows. My face is shaped like I'm meant to be punched. It literally is punched, like it's punch shaped. So it's like you hit and then it slides off. And then my eyebrows, like if the sun's shining down, you know, like I have very clear physical adaptations on my head that show that I am stupid. So it makes, you know, it makes sense. I figure maybe she's been like talking through Discord, texting, talking, maybe even email, something like that. No. They're talking telepathically. This person is talking to Keisha telepathically. She knows it's him because he said things in the physical that he has said to her telepathically, even though they've never met. So maybe it was on Discord, or maybe she's just watching his videos. I don't know what this is, but this is like maybe the basis of parasocial relationships or something along those lines. She then says that she started to see his content and have profound feelings when she watched the content, and she also started to see him in her dreams.
I was starting to see his content and have these profound feelings when I would see it, and he was showing up in my dreams a lot. And at first I just ignored it because I had already been on a twin flame journey, and I just was like, no, not again. But it kept happening, and so I decided to explore it. I didn't know then what I know now, which is that he uses glamour magic on his content to elicit certain emotions when you view it.
She says she started to explore it, claiming naivete at the time because she didn't know he uses glamour magic on his content to elicit emotions from viewers. I would like to know what I am. Am I telepathic? Like, tell me. Do I have glamour magic? What is this? Tell me, give me a reading. I want to know. I'm very curious. So we are now 2 minutes into an exposing saga, and at this point, some would say this is delusion, and some would say that this is just something we don't understand, which that's what I'm going to say. I just don't get it yet. A little further on, she says she booked a session with this guy who is still unnamed. She said that she feels safe and needed a masculine energy source to create a healing space for herself. Now, I don't know exactly what that means either, I'm going to be honest, but we're going to keep going.
So, being the spiritually guided woman that I am, I followed those nudges and I booked a session with him. And, the session was very accurate. I felt like he felt like a safe masculine energy to me at the time. And someone with a father wound that I had been working to heal, I thought it would be good to have someone who represented a safe masculine energy to create a healing space.
She then says that she felt as if she was guided romantically towards this person, which is very odd. She saw him in a dream, pursued a figment of her imagination, booked a session, and then confirmed her delusions. That's the sort of where I'm at currently, what I'm seeing. But at the same time, this is not a world that's been necessarily disproved. We just got to keep an open mind. In their session, she claims that she talked about trying to call love into her life, and he responded by saying that he's sort of unsure about the relationship that he is in currently, which she then finds odd.
The synchronicities I was receiving, the way I was receiving them, it felt like I was being guided romantically to this person. But I discovered, even before booking my first session, that he was in a relationship. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just book the session because maybe my guides just want me to receive some kind of healing from him. And so on our first session, we're going through the session, everything's normal. I'm talking about, I was trying to call love into my life, so that comes up, and I'm talking about, like what I need to do to reach that. And he mentioned something about not being sure that he wants to be in the relationship that he's in after X amount of time, just like feeling like this isn't it. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting thing to say on a call.
That is odd to me. Just first, you're talking to someone, a spirit walker, and you just talk to him, and in the first session you're candid about relationship troubles. I mean, it's not therapy. But then again, who needs therapy if you've got glamour magic? Me, I need therapy. She talks about how they start developing some kind of strange telepathic relationship, but once again, they've never met physically. Telepathically, energetically, they've met, but not physically. She just talks so much about how they've been communicating a lot, and she hasn't named. It's confusing.
Now, normally I would not entertain someone romantically who was in a relationship, but that is where this person comes in with the power of spell work and energy work and overall psychological manipulation to make me believe that I was developing feelings for him, make me believe that there was some kind of destined connection through the way he was appearing in my dreams, through the signs that he would like project into my life. And so I thought, well, I have to follow the calling.
Then she says that she tried to cut it off, but he manifests her and brought her back with energy work by using, I don't know, glamour magic, potentially, wizard magic, goblin magic. And this all happened right before he decided to tap into her sexual energy and then manipulate her sexual energy.
I kept going back and forth about him because I would be like, well, you have a girlfriend, so we should stop and continue once you break up. And then, he would like post pictures with his girlfriend, and I'd be like, oh, well, I definitely don't want to be a part of this. And so I would try to cut it off. And then he would manifest me back, and he would do energy work on me to bring me back. During this time, he also began tapping into my sexual energy and manipulating my sexual energy. And I believe this is how he harvests the energy of the feminines that he is connecting with. At a certain point in the repeating cycle, I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm cutting you off and I'm not looking back. And every time I would cut him off, there would be a very hateful reaction where he would discard me, basically criticize me, like try to bring down my self-worth. And I just couldn't believe my eyes, honestly, because the way this person presents themselves online, the woman was too stunned to speak. I could not believe that this was the same person.
This is the harvesting that we first mentioned earlier, and then I went, you know, because it's a crazy thing to harvest someone's anything. It's weird to harvest anything that isn't a fruit or a vegetable, to be honest. So all this is going on, and then she talks about what happens to her whenever she tries to cut him off. She gets a hateful reaction. He'd discard her, even though she already discarded him, I think, when she cut him off. I'm not exactly sure about that. He'd criticize her telepathically. He would bring down her self-worth. Telepathically, of course. She never shows any sort of messages or proof of anything. This is just her talking as a head, recounting a story that happened in the astral realm. We can truly only assume that the communication that they had was via telepathic communication or through her dreams. And I assume they had a session. Maybe they did like VC or something in Discord and they like e-sexed or whatever. I don't really know how that works. For the next part, get ready for a slurry of buzzwords. I'm going to try to explain this the same way Keisha explains it, which is the way that I think is the proper way to explain it.
He implanted spiritual technology into my energy field to keep me from seeing the situation clearly. So I'm a pretty intuitive woman. I think a lot of you on here who follow me know I'm pretty tapped in.
He implanted spiritual technology into Keisha's energy field, which kept her from seeing the situation clearly. Does that make sense to you guys? Because I think I'm starting to get it. Keisha then goes on to accuse this nameless, completely faceless man of casting confusion spells on her or something along those lines, some kind of transmutation magic to just confuse her for the last couple months. I don't know what the is going on truly. This is an interesting part. She says that every time she would try to confront him in the physical, which I assume means actually communicating with him, and not in the telepathic world or the dreamland or spirit world or astral realm or whatever but the really real world, he would deny what she's saying, which makes sense because maybe it was imagined. I don't know.
Every time I would try to confront him in the physical, he would deny what was happening. So I would confront him. I would tell him everything that we had been talking about or the exchanges we had had. And he would be like, no, I have a girlfriend. And one time he even said to me, like, only you and I know the truth of this relationship, or the truth of this connection. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say. And at one point, he even asked me to express how I felt about him in the 3D. And so I did, because I expected him to express it back. And he didn't. He pulled that same playing the fool stunt so that he could have something to leverage against me in case I ever tried to out him.
This is like that VR chat thing where it's like, you know, the ethics and laws of VR chat when you grope someone in VR chat. I tell you what, I'm not playing that game ever again. Every time I go on there, something horrible happens to me. I get misled very easily whenever I get on VR chat, and then I get taken advantage of. That's where the first video ends, and it is a bit of a doozy. It's tough to understand, but once again, trying to be respectful here. There is a part 2, by the way. We're not going to do a full breakdown of part 2 because it's a mystery man still, but we're going to get to the most important parts. She goes on to blame her bad days. She couldn't even get up some days or do work or anything. She would just be sad and need to cry, and she knew that it was him doing this. She's blaming her bad days on this guy that she's that is just astrally fucking with her. I really don't know what exactly we're getting at here.
So there would be days where I would just feel like I can't get up, I can't do anything, I feel horrible, I just feel sad, I feel like I just need to cry all day. And I knew that it was coming from this person. I just sensed it.
Then she says that there were moments where money wouldn't come in, and she blamed that on him. And she would tell him telepathically that it was strange that when he came into her life, money stopped flowing. She's blaming money. Is money spiritual? Because I mean, you know, I'm trying to be as understanding here as possible, but I think money is kind of like the antithesis of spirit. Oh my God. This is a real thing. Why money is actually spiritual energy linked in. Money is God's way of rewarding us for serving his other children and motivating us to do so. Rich people wrote that. I feel like money's the fucking root of all evil, is it not? Am I off base there? Am I off base or something like this? Or something? Am I not understanding this or something? Lay down! We get to a big point. This is a really big point because this is the first time that she's going to meet this guy in the actual physical world, like face to face in the really real reality. She talks about a retreat that this guy hosted and heavily implies that he really wanted her to go in a really real way, but she didn't want to. And after a month of back and forth, she decided to go. First time seeing each other in person. Epic.
And at one point, you know, he kept encouraging me to book sessions with him. I think I booked 3, but one of them I canceled, but there were no refunds. And then he was hosting a retreat and he wanted to invite me. And at first I was like, no, I'm not, I'm not going on this retreat. And so we spent maybe like a month going back and forth. And then finally I was like, all right, maybe I just need to meet this person and see once and for all what the truth is. Because at that time, when I was going back and forth about the retreat, I still was confused about the person. Because there were things that he was doing to help me heal. And there were times where he felt like a loving presence. But then there were times where he definitely did not.
We learned that most of their conversations took place in mediums that have no way of being recorded by any physical object. So there's just no proof that they ever happened in like the real, the real world or whatever we're calling it now. The real, reality. Reality sucks. So I get this, reality does kind of blow. So I understand what's going on here. So she's going to this retreat. She says she's paid for it. And after she has paid, she gets a telepathic email message, some kind of thing from him saying that he is still firmly with his partner. So she flips out, as one would when you find out this.
So I paid for the retreat. And immediately after I paid, not immediately, but later that night, I get a telepathic message. Just so you know, I'm still firmly with my partner. And this was after months of convincing me that he was in love with me, that he wanted to be with me, that he wanted to marry me, that he wanted us to move to the same place. And admittedly, I flipped out, rightfully so, I think, because I'm like, this whole time I thought that you were like creating this plan to leave and that these feelings were real, and this feels like trickery. She
thought he had a plan to leave his girlfriend or that they were going to get married and move in together or something. I can't imagine being that guy though. I feel kind of bad for him. Just sort of, if someone showed up to my door and said that we had been speaking telepathically, I would literally get a gun. Like that's the first thing I would do. I would feel as if my life is in danger and I would begin to protect myself and my loved ones. That's what I would do if someone showed up to my house or my retreat and said that they were speaking to me telepathically. That would be a big, scary L. She then claims she got a refund after threatening to show up to the retreat and then expose him. Expose him for what exactly? I have no fucking idea because there's no proof of anything. And also, I don't know if she threatened him telepathically or physically, because that's like, you can't just threaten people. You can't just blackmail people. This seems like blackmail maybe, but it's astral, so it's not real. It's fine. Maybe this guy just refunded her because she requested it. Maybe she was, I don't know. Who knows? No one does. Literally nobody does. No one will ever know.
So I was like, give me my money back. And at first he was like, no, I'm keeping it. And I was like, okay, well, you can keep it. And here are the 2 options. My ancestors will come in and light your ass up, or I'm gonna show up at the retreat and expose you. So which one do you want? And then pretty quickly after that, I got my money back. But that was that was the biggest moment when there was a breakdown for me of like, ooh, the mask just slipped. And then after that, there were many more moments where like, there was deep rage and anger, potentially some racism. Not really sure about that.
She then says that there was a deep rage and anger from him and also some racism, because we have to throw that in there as well, even though this is the person who wants to marry you and is in love with you. So I don't know, what the beginning and end, what the plan, the strategy for this was. I really don't understand that from the perspective of this evil piece of shit male guy. After this point, we really don't need to speak anymore about any of this, guys. It's just more of the same. It's more of the same. You guys understand the basis, and that's really the meat and potatoes of the drama, the big astral, the insane astral drama. The comments from the re-upload, by the way, are on her side. I don't know if they were initially. The original time, I don't think they were. I don't know what's going on, really. I'm confused up until this point. It's a small community. The video didn't do super well. It's a find. It's a diamond in the rough. So when all this is going down, she never names the guy. In fact, she only named him later. And this was after other spiritual TikTok friends advised her to name him. That video, though, is deleted, and I cannot find a re-upload or a stitch or a duet or anything. But the guy's name came out, and this fella's name is Saint Finnikin, a TikTok creator who is in the spirit world. If you want to apply like reality to this, and this is like a defamatory thing that she's saying about this guy, but not really, because it's like, it's not even, it's real. It's just like kind of fictional, not in the real world. I don't know how you can represent. I think a judge, if you were to take this in front of a judge and a jury, I don't know what would happen. It'd be funny to watch though. I do know that. This would be some Amber Heard type Johnny Depp stuff. This dude is handsome as fuck, by the way. He's got beautiful hair and he's really handsome. He's been posting since December 2019, and that is according to his oldest video on his page. And he's got a song, and it's actually a solid song. Handsome dude, he's talented as fuck. It's awesome. I like his singing. It's pretty good. It's not bad. It's interesting. He's a you know, he's made for Keisha. Saint Finnikin, or whatever his name is, has posted up way less than Keisha. He has 4 times the followers, about 400,000. And he received a lot of harassment from her community, which was plentiful and not in his favor at all. He even decided to make a second response to all this stuff after her first one. The second response was a legitimate response. It had physical evidence. It's a lot more serious than the first one. We don't even need to show the first one. First off, this guy's fit is hard as f. What is he wearing? That's like I have a rug that looks like that. If I pull myself out, like, let's be real, the stakes for this, they're pretty low. It's not like real world stuff. The stakes for this are very low. Like, there's a lot worse things going on in the world right now. But seeing a spirit guy and a spirit girl fighting on TikTok, that's why I made this video. That's why I'm covering this. That's what it's, because it's awesome. So he starts by saying he's been contemplating making a response to Keisha. He shows her TikTok. He shows all the people dragging his name through the mud. Defamation, astral plane defamation, spiritual plane defamation, energy defamation, other types of defamation, all kinds of defamation, all of it.
I've been contemplating for a couple days now on making a second response to the accusations this creator is accusing me of. And for the last 2 days, I have been watching my name being dragged across the mud and ditches of TikTok. I have been harassed in thousands of comments. I have had videos made, stitched and duetted, speaking hateful narratives over me. And so I believe it is my right now to speak my piece on this matter and bring clarity to a lot of details that are being overlooked. Before I jump into some of these details, I feel called to approach some of the accusations as asterisks and a prescript.
So now we're gonna actually legitimately just react to a part.
So number 1, I am a sovereign being who is entirely in control of his energy.
Smart.
I harm no one. Number 2, I do not subscribe to the narrative of twin flames. Number 3, I do not also subscribe to the narrative of marriage. Number 4, I do not plant chips energetically into people's auric toroidal fields in different dimensions. Number 5, I do not astral travel into people's dreams and harass them. Number 6, I do not astral project into people's dreams and harass them or do any other Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy fuckery that I'm being accused of.
Wait, you don't do any of that? Well, then what the hell am I doing? I feel like I'm living life all wrong. I gotta be more like this guy. I need to quit traveling into people's fucking dreams. What? What is this? Sorry, I'm getting a little unhinged. Yeah, he clarifies that yes, all of this is telepathic and energetic, not in real life harassment, so we're safe. Because this is just absurd and this is a weird TikTok spirit thing, don't bully either one of these people, by the way, even if you think they're both fucking lunatics, which I wouldn't blame you if you did. Or if you think that I'm an asshole for not having a perfectly open mind, that's completely fine too. Bully me. Bully me. Get mad at me. Don't get mad at them. He says that she implanted this stuff into her head, that he was telepathically in her head and was telling her that he was her twin flame, aka future husband, and then scheduled a meeting. So he's saying that she implanted him into her head to twin. He doesn't subscribe to the twin flame though. We already, it's like a sexual thing in nature as well. It's basically sexual harassment is the accusation, but like astral essay, which I'm not an expert, but I think that really sort of devalues the serious things that exist in reality that don't get nearly as much coverage or press or algorithmic fortitude. Oh, how fortuitous.
This content creator who is accusing me of these things made a 3-part series, and in the first video, she states clearly that this all happened telepathically and energetically for months. Mind you, I had not met her. In the first video, she claims that I had been meeting her telepathically and building a romantic relationship with her, saying that I was her twin flame, saying that I want to marry her, saying that I want to move in with her and travel the world. She built this facade within her head before we had ever met for months. And then she reached out to me and schedule a business one-with-one. I take my business very seriously, and every single space that I am with, whether it's 15 people and a retreat, or if it's a one-person call, is very sacred to me. These meetings specifically were about business and how she can optimize her business, how she can look into analytics insights with her marketing.
I was sexually assaulted in the astral plane. How fortuitous. You shouldn't say that. He then states that he takes his business seriously, as it is a sacred thing to him, and she purely called about business and how to optimize it. Purely business related stuff. In the business meetings, the astral communication that they did, he says that he had no idea that she was building a narrative of them falling in love in another dimension. He was unaware of that. It wasn't until after that meeting that she reached out in the real world. She messaged him on Instagram and told him to leave her alone and that he was harassing her.
Even in these business meetings, I still had no idea this narrative that she was building in her head, that we were romantically involved in a different dimension. It was until way after these meetings that she reached out to me via Instagram DM and asked me to stop harassing her in a different dimension. I made it very clear that I had no idea what she was talking about.
He then shows the messages, and this is ridiculous. She said, "Can you please leave me alone? This is harassment at this point and it needs to stop." He says, "I'm confused, I haven't talked to you in months, aside from the women's retreat stuff." She says, "I'm not going to argue with you because I know you are just going to continue to gaslight me. You are contacting me." By the way, gaslight, that is code for some people that they're just being disproven and that they're wrong. "You are contacting me telepathically, and you have been for the last 6 months, even though I've repeatedly asked you to stop. I'm making you stop in the 3D now. It's negatively impacting my mental health and well-being. Please stop. Respectfully, I never think of you. I thought of you when we worked together, but always in a sister way. But when we got off the calls, I did not continue thoughts. I do not have dreams of you. I do not ponder or entertain any thoughts towards you, ever. I don't know what you're experiencing, but I have nothing to do with this in any way. I am in a committed relationship for 5 years, and I have always been faithful. With this being said, I hope you are doing well and believe you are powerful enough to..." Blocked. That's a hard-ass response. And I'm still, I still feel bad for Keisha because she obviously believes something bad happened to her. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't seem like it was that bad. You'd be all right, I think. Frankie, worse things have happened, for sure. He then goes on to explain that in the video that she posted that became super popular, that name dropped him, it had no context, so people thought that what she was doing was in real life, which is massively different. The only clarification was a single comment that she made on her post saying, "Yes, telepathically and energetically." Huge difference. Real life, big bad deal, bad. Telepathically and energetically, it's like, I don't really know how to quantify exactly what's being said or what's going on, or, if I'm even capable of doing that Q word. Quantify, you know what I'm saying?
Very important part in her third video, which is the one that went viral, has over 100,000 views and thousands of comments. There is no context when it comes to the allegations she's accusing me of. So the people that are coming to that video are literally thinking that I did this, but in real life. The irony here is bizarre. For anyone that has done inner work and shadow work, they know clearly that what we project and judge onto others is quite literally a neglected wound that we have within ourselves. So, with that being said, the harassment and abuse that she accused me of, she literally did to me, but in real life. She did it in real life. This is real, and this is happening to me. And by real, I mean, if I was an asshole, I could literally take you to court and sue you for slandering my name, for defamation of character. And let me tell you something, sister. Your evidence and proof will not hold up in court.
He then clarifies that this is real life now. She's not just hurting him in the spirit world, he's actually being hurt in real life, which is true. That's actually true. The only real life hurt that happened through all of this is her making the video name dropping him and doing it in an incredibly irresponsible way that slandered him and caused a bunch of people to send negative spirit missiles towards him, spirit bombs, love Dragon Ball Z, etc. He probably could take her to court, honestly, for slander and defamation, but he doesn't probably want to go that route because he would seem like a massive, and he's like probably one of those live and let die type guys like Paul McCartney and the Wings or whatever. Like John Lennon's Imagine. Imagine you give me some beer money right now. He then states what she's doing is not right, that it is hurtful, and he cannot let it go any further. And honestly, I agree completely, and she did delete the video. So it's solid. It was re-uploaded. This is a really strange thing, because they both seem like good people. They both seem like people who are not, on the whole, harming anyone, really. They seem quite harmless, but she has a problem with him. And then it's resulted in this.
I want to move from the head to the heart right now, because this is actually heartbreaking. When I go to her comments in the video that went viral, 99% of the comments of her following is supporting her delusion. This is not true love. What she has done is she has cultivated an entire community that is quite literally keeping her in a habitual loop pattern that do not care about her well-being. That breaks my heart. So I leave this with a prayer that you are surrounded by strong, bold, powerful, independent women who speak of reverence and inspire you to liberate yourself and let go of the shackles that you have placed on your feet and hands, because you are in control.
This is the best part of the whole thing, in my opinion. He states that he needs real support, not TikTok followers who are feeding her delusions. He's like trying to be positive and get people to just stop her and let everyone move on, not stop her by bringing her down or like rallying a community of like, oh, you're crazy as you're delusional, you're fucking insane. Even though that's probably what would have happened in like the late 1500s. But like now, it's just he's being genuinely nice, it seems. And honestly, I think I'm on his side. Unfortunately, at this point, I really do like Keisha and like her content's pretty quirky and interesting. But this is just fucking stupid. Now, to do a little bit of simple Google fact checking, she claimed to book an appointment with him. I don't know if he's taken his appointments down, but you can't find anything in his Linktree, his TikTok, his YouTube, his Spotify. There's nothing about private sessions. There's nothing in there about any of that. He has a podcast called Energy Hospital, which is very bad name for, it's like a soap opera thing. We kind of scraped through it. Couldn't find anything about private sessions. Keisha also claims that she booked a spot at a retreat that was refunded. The only thing we could really find was this thing called a Rose Heart Retreat, which had him listed as an instructor. But I'd be more worried about this guy. This guy looks like a fucking cult leader. No offense, I don't want to defame or slander, but he's dressed very suggestively. That's how I would dress if I was a cult leader. I don't think he's a cult leader, but this is an interesting outfit. I can't believe this is a real world. Look at these other people. That's a sweet hat. How do you get into this world? How do you just like stop thinking about stuff? So now we get into the public response to this thing, this situation. It's very interesting. This whole thing is nuts. So we have people online, outsiders that are looking into the strange, just random passersby on TikTok. It's a very complicated situation. They're reacting to the trauma that Keisha has been experiencing, and it's shocking. The people's reactions are shocking. A lot of people had a lot of thoughts about this, and not all of them, I think, are using the full capacity of their brains and ability to reason to come to a conclusion on what exactly is going on. So this is a person who made a video breaking down it. She wants someone to call Saint Finnikin out, which I thought that's what Keisha was doing. I'm not really sure. She says that he's a spiritual narcissist, which, trying to really think about what that means, I guess you could see maybe like if he's talking about he appears so calm, but he's actually maybe a paper tiger of spirituality or something. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just making shit up. She said that his response videos were terrifying and ridiculous.
His response videos to her were absolutely terrifying, absolutely ridiculous, and if you don't know how to spot spiritual narcissism, you can look at it and be like, oh, this dude is really loving and he really cares.
Maybe it's terrifying because at one point he calls this defamation, and the possibility that Keisha has been slanderous, which is he provided receipts, like actual real receipts. She didn't, so I don't really, I don't understand that, I guess, but the comments for her video are not on her side at all. She's just trying to expose the spiritual narcissism, whatever that is.
Not being able to spot a spiritual narcissist is a dangerous thing. This story contains spiritual narcissism, spiritual psychosis, and I want to talk about what is spiritual psychosis and what is it not.
It's another interesting mind-bending take here that just, it's a complete new world. By the way, once again, no hate, no bully or whatever, dude. It's just, this is very, I don't belong here. It's interesting to me. A lot of her comments are also vehemently on the side of Keisha. It's just weird. This fella named Chris has a pretty reasonable take that I liked. It was nice.
You can only interfere with yourself. No one else can interfere.
The drama that's on spiritual TikTok right now is really fascinating to me, because what it's doing is it's highlighting this truth that not everybody knows, and the people that don't know it are basically open to being manipulated. That truth is what Bashar is talking about here. It's that no one can mess with you unless you agree. And it doesn't have to be a conscious agreement. It has to be it's like an energetic agreement. It's like if someone scares you and scares you into believing that they're going to do something to you, then you're kind of agreeing that they can do something to you.
Bro just fucking read the 37th law of power or some shit. So he thinks it's like Keisha letting this happen because it's not physical. So it's not, I don't really, it's just, there's also a lot of people, by the way, for the sake of all of us, that think this whole thing is absurd. And I think this is probably the boat that most people are going to fall into. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really interesting. It's a really crazy story, crazy accusations. And now I can do some harassment and bullying now after the video's over. I'm not going to do that in the video, but I'll do that as soon as this turns off. Just kidding. I don't do that. And I don't, I'm not a part of organized crime. What else? I'm just kidding. Hopefully you guys like this video. I hope you thought it was funny. All right, at the very least. What do you think of this fucking strange new parasocial world? These fucking lunatics out here on TikTok. This is some crazy shit. What the I don't know what the hell's going on, dude. Jesus Christ. Sorry, that was all pent up, Anyways.